After missing the Pocono round of Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires, rookie Alex Barron returned with authority at Toronto, storming to the pole position and his first Indy Lights victory. Alex Barron is a winner on the streets of Toronto. Teammate and championship leader Gabby Chavez made it a Velarde Auto Racing 1-2 and stretched his points lead over Andretti Autosport's Zach Veach, who finished 5th in the changing conditions. Now, the Indy Lights Series returns to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the 18th time. A doubleheader format doubles the points on offer, and Chavez will fight to defend his victory from a year ago. Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires, is next. Halfway between Cleveland and Columbus, you'll find one of the classic American road courses. Sports cars and later open wheel cars have been racing here since 1962. Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course and the Indy Lights Mid-Ohio Grand Prix. I'm Kevin Lee, along with former Indy Lights driver Anders Krohn. We're getting set for Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires, and it's race number 2 of the weekend. Anders, race 1 yesterday. Very entertaining, especially the early portion of the race because it began in the wet. Jack Harvey on the pole for the first time, and he was impressive in the early going, Anders. Nobody could get him on the jump, but then the racing was 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Absolutely frantic racing, as we see. They go over those wet patches on the track, extremely challenging conditions. Here we see Gabby Chavez on an absolute move early on here, moving up from the mid-pack to the front.
Chavez did not have the qualifying that he wanted. He started in the 4th position. And there we see the teammates, Zach Veach and Matthew Brabham, going at it before a problem for Brabham.
Absolute shame to see Brabham slow down like that. He did not deserve that. Had a great run. As we see Juan Pablo Garcia and Juan Piedrahita interlocking wheels here, still making it through unscathed. That is incredible stuff.
But nobody had anything for Jack Harvey. He's been knocking on the door all season long. 5 times a 3rd place finisher, 1 time a runner-up, but nobody could get Jack Harvey yesterday here in Mid-Ohio with his first win in Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. So now we get set to do it all again here coming up today, and they go by the 2nd fastest qualifying lap or the fastest race lap. Well, that's going to go back to qualifying because we were in the wet, and now they're all chasing Harvey one more time.
Again, we see Harvey on an absolute dominant charge here. He's really coming to his own element here, and I think we can only see him get stronger and stronger and stronger on the eve of this season.
Let's talk championship now. Gabby Chavez did finish 2nd, so he extends his lead to 29 now on Zach Veach, but there's a 3rd player.
There really is. Jack Harvey, with his win, has been inching ever closer for quite some time now, and I think he could be a genuine contender now after this race today.
And Veach knows he needs to win, so watch for him working his way through the pack as well. Let's hear from yesterday's winner, down on the grid with Jake Query.
As you saw, dominating day yesterday for Jack Harvey and getting your first win here in the Indy Lights. Congratulations. The benefit now, race number 2, you get to start up front. How will this race be any different in terms of what you have to do than yesterday?
I think the key things are going to be pretty much the same. You know, need to make a good start, get through the first corners without any issues, and I guess after that, hopefully try and control the race. You know, yesterday the car was fantastic. You know, we've been quick all weekend, so really we're just hoping to replicate what we did yesterday today. So, you know, nothing too different, just trying to do the simple stuff well and hopefully be on the top step of the podium again.
I know you were excited. Did you get a chance to let it set in that you got the win, but you had to turn around and get right back in the car?
Well, I think that's the thing, you know, because it's a double-header weekend for us. It's, you know, I'm a big believer in just enjoying the moment, but then you enjoy it for a couple of minutes and you're like, okay, what do we have to do tomorrow to be better? And that's kind of where we're at now, so hopefully a double win is a better reason to celebrate tonight than just 1 win last night, so that's what we're working towards.
The only drawback of coming off a win at a doubleheader, guys, is right here to his right. He said, my helmet stinks. I haven't had a chance to wash it. That's the only drawback, but good points day as we take a look now at Jack Harvey's weekend.
And Jack Harvey is certainly very much in the championship picture. It's been a 2-driver race much of the season. Razia was in the mix, but he had a couple of DNFs. But Zach Veach still lurking. Harvey right there. It's going to be tough for anybody else. So we'll wait and see what happens today, and I think we're going to see some aggressive driving here. Ready to get going. Let's go down to the grid for opening ceremonies.
front straightaway. So that's a lap of the 2.25-mile Mid-Ohio course from the vantage point of our announcers that you'll be hearing throughout the racecast. For those of you here at the track, just a reminder that you can hear a simulcast of the public address system at 90.3 on your FM dial. That's Radio Mid-Ohio, 90.3 FM.
Everyone at Allied Building Products, drivers, start your engines.
And the command has been given. Thanks so much to Fred Roy.
And there's Jack Harvey ready to go, looking for 2 in a row, and he's got the jump, and we've got an onboard with him. And returning face that's new for this season, that's Axel Jeffries for Velarde Auto Racing. And then back to Juan Pedrejita, also on board. So 3 on boards today. Should get some great vantage points, and Matthew Brabham as well. All right, we're about ready to go. We'll come back with a start from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, race 11 of 14 this season. Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. Nearly ready to go at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for race 2 of the weekend. Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires with Anders Krohn. I'm Kevin Lee. Let's take a look at how they are going to line up today. Yesterday's winner gets the opening jump, and it's an all Schmidt-Peterson front row with his teammate Luis Rizia on the outside. Row 2, Matthew Brabham looking for a bounce back. Decent day yesterday, but not what he was hoping for in 5th place. Gabby Chavez, the championship leader, who finished 2nd. There's his closest combatant, Zach Veach, and Axel Jeffries, his 2nd race of the season. Did very well yesterday. Juan Pedrejita and Jimmy Simpson, who we saw last year in the Freedom 100, is here racing for Team Moore this weekend. Zach Meyer in row 5, Ryan Finney with Brian Herta Autosports. Scott Anderson and Pablo Garcia round out the 12-car field here today. Pacing, getting set to go. It's time to find out what the keys are with Anders Insider.
Well, the number one thing coming into this weekend is that this is the eve of the championship. We're going to see some desperate drivers now wanting to gain points here in the final few races, and I think we can see some very aggressive moves. Further to that, watch for the first lap moves here. There's not a lot of passing in Mid-Ohio, so I think we'll see some very aggressive ones here. And finally, the weather conditions have been changing all weekend long. This is the first day of all sunshine, warm weather. We'll see how it all goes.
Look at this perfect alignment. They get it started around turn number 3 in the kink in the backstretch, and we are green underway, racing in Mid-Ohio. Jack Harvey gets the early jump.
As we see Luis Rizia trying to get in on the inside there, couldn't quite make it, but now trying to make that outside move stick, and he gets punted by Matthew Brabham.
So Rizia and Brabham go around, and there's significant damage, at least for Brabham, if not for Rizia as well. And I think at least one more car was involved in contact.
And this is going to result in a full course caution here, as we see Brabham just absolutely buried in that gravel trap there. Great shame for both these two guys. They've needed a turnaround weekend. They've fallen a little bit behind, but now they really need a turnaround. This is not what they needed.
And that first corner is so critical. We are under full course yellow. That you want to take some chances there because it is so challenging to pass on this track.
You really do. But the special thing about the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is that they're actually restarting on the back straight. They're restarting going into turn 4. So a long run into that turn 4 there. And as we can see, Brabham just locking up the wheels and slamming into Rizia. Rizia got taken out last weekend at Toronto, had no idea that it was going to happen. Same thing here. Oh, look at Brabham. Just locks him up and hits straight into Rizia.
Let's take one more look here. Rizia in the white and red car. Lucas Oil on the outside. Does he cut in a little bit too close? Did he leave Brabham enough room?
It looked like Brabham had a flat tire there. It looked like he had a flat tire there, maybe from contact with Rizia early on. Yeah, there was no way he was going to control that car. Wow, that's a great shame for these two guys. They really did need a turnaround weekend.
And it does appear like they're the only two impacted. I didn't see any other contact with anyone else involved.
I think Zach Veach was the only guy that was ever so close to being in that mess, but he luckily avoided it, which is vital for his championship if he's going to have a chance of catching Gabby Chavez at the top.
So Rizia is still trying to get going, but he's now gone a lap down.
And this right here is a great example of just how low these Indy Lights race cars are run. He's just hanging on the edge of the track there. None of the wheels touching the ground. This is how low they run him, so that if you have the car halfway on the grass, halfway on the asphalt, there's no wheels touching. And as you can see here, they're having a bit of a struggle getting that removed, because I think he can actually carry on here and hopefully rejoin the race.
Jack Harvey is the leader. Zach Veach jumped from 5th to 2nd at the start. We'll restart him here coming up from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on NBCSN. Back in Mid-Ohio, under yellow with a Turn 4 incident, which is the first corner after the start of the race between Matthew Brabham and Luis Rizia. With Anders Krohn, I'm Kevin Lee. Anders, let's take a look at this one more time.
Yeah, as we see, Rizia pops out here to go for a move. Matthew Brabham, as he comes into the braking zone, has no way of slowing down the car right there.
And there's the restart with Jack Harvey leading Zach Veach back into turn number 1. Nothing changes there. Gabby Chavez, the championship leader, comes through in 3rd. And then Axel Jeffries in 4th. Down to the keyhole, turn number 2. Veach taking a little bit of look as the top 3 have pulled away a bit.
This right here is Zach Veach's opportunity. I think that Harvey's going to be too strong once those tires are up to temp, but this is Zach's chance, and this could be vital for his championship as well. As we run right now, he's currently 24 points back, but he could gain solid ground on Chavez if he gets this pass done.
Right here's the best place to pass, right?
It really is. It's the only place. There's only one long straightaway heading into turn 4 here as we're going through turn 5 here, also called Madness. Awesome section of the track coming through here. Turn 6, very, very flowing, very fast. A lot of downforce coming into play here. Just a fantastic race course.
Harvey, Veach, Chavez, 1, 2, 3, pulling away here in the opening moments. An incident at the start of this race. Let's find out more with one of those involved on pit lane with Jake Query.
Yep, that incident took out Matthew Brabham early in this race. What did you feel with that car? It looked like you lost a tire before it locked up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I got a really good start, and I was going down the straight, and it felt like wind at first. I thought, wow, it's really gusty, and the car was going sideways down the straight, and it was weaving all over the place. And then I got into turn 1, and as soon as I hit the brakes, the whole rear end of the car just bottomed out, and the rear tires went in, like, it felt like I just had no grip at the rear.
We take a look at it here.
And I just spun. So yeah, right about here, you can see the car, like, just, I don't know, it's just, yeah, just had no rear grip. And I'm sorry for Asia, but yeah, I mean, it looks bad there, but my tire was gone down before I got to the corner, and when I broke it, I just had no rear grip, and I couldn't brake the car, and as I was braking, everything was locking up. So
you don't think there was any contact that led to the tire going down?
Well, I'm not sure what happened behind me at the start. I think we're all pretty closely bunched there. Maybe I copped a little bit of a hit from behind. I didn't really feel anything, but I felt the tire going down the straight, but I thought it was something else. I thought it was a wind, but yeah, unfortunately, I'm really sorry to Razi. I mean, it was nothing to do with his fault at all. It was completely on my end. So yeah, sorry that I ended his race, but yeah.
Appreciate the time.
Thanks.
They were hoping to get 50% of the laps in for Matthew Brabham to try to get some points from the day, but the car's gone on the other side of the wall, so the day's done for Matthew Brabham.
And Rizia is back on track, so he does still have a chance to score more than 1 point, because if you don't do half the laps, you get just 1 point. And Rizia has already had some difficulties this season, including a full DNF this year. So these were 2 that were still lurking in the championship, but it's really been a 3-driver chase right now between Gabby Chavez, Jack Harvey, and Zach Veach. Jack Harvey up front as we take a look at the team. More cars going at it a little bit.
Jimmy Simpson doing an astonishing job here. He's come into this race straight out of the Atlantic Series. That's what he's been doing full-time this year, and actually has outpaced Zach Meyer this weekend and doing a great job, and now pressuring Juan Piedrahita for that next spot up and doing a fantastic job here. He was also very, very strong in the early laps yesterday, however, couldn't quite keep the consistency up, so maybe today will be the change of that.
We're on board with Juan Piedrahita. Jimmy Simpson has USAC experience. He's from Indianapolis. And as you mentioned, he's won a couple of races. He's second to another Mazda Road to Indy driver, Daniel Burkett, who drives in USF 2000. He's second in the Atlantics Championship this year.
He's obviously trying to gather some experience here in Indy Lights. I don't know if his plans are to move up to Indy Lights next year, but that would definitely be the logical step for him to move up from the Atlantic Championship, move into the Indy Lights full-time. Obviously, with that new car coming in, I think there's going to be a lot of interested parties.
And then another newcomer this weekend is Axel Jeffries, who did race last year for Brian Herta Autosports. He was 7th here, finished 5th at Houston. A pretty good day yesterday as well. A couple of GP2 starts this season for Axel Jeffries, who is running 4th.
And he's starting to become a very well-rounded and experienced driver. He's running in 4th right now, which for his first Indy Lights race of the season is pretty much unheard of. What he's doing right now is showing a really, really big strength.
6th yesterday. And Axel Jeffries represents the UN AIDS group, which is an HIV/AIDS advocacy campaign. Their slogan is "Protect the Goal." The 0 references the goal of 0 new HIV infections, discrimination, and AIDS-related deaths. I talked to Brian Bellardi just a little while ago, and he's really impressed with what Axel was able to do yesterday because they didn't get any testing time, but he has gotten up to speed very quickly. Is within 4.5 seconds of the leaders. There's the front 3 right there. Jack Harvey, who has been warned for blocking already. They're keeping an eye on that. So this race is not done at this point. But Zach Beach has fallen just a little bit further back than he was in the first few laps.
Jack is now starting to inch out a little bit of a gap. Early on in the race yesterday, we also saw this trend of Zach Beach and Gabby Chavez being quite strong early on, but then as the race wore on, Jack Harvey was just unstoppable. So unless Zach Beach gets something done here in the next few laps, I doubt he'll see Harvey there as gearbox for much longer.
Jack Harvey has a chance to really make another jump in the championship now. From Gabby Chavez's perspective, he's at least hanging in there. So we talked about it at the beginning, how fortunate Chavez was that he wasn't collected, because he could have gone from a 29-point lead to no longer leading the championship if Harvey would have won the race.
Gabby is just having all the luck right now. He's done a great job all year, staying consistent. When other people have made mistakes, he's kept it clean. His only bad race was really at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where he blew an engine through no fault of his own. So he's done a good job.
So Harvey now, if it finishes this way, would jump up to 2nd in the championship. Zach Veach has led the championship at times this season, but is slipping back a little bit. He's going to want to try to make something happen if he can, but he's got to get to Jack Harvey to have any opportunity.
And just look at them wrestling it through turn 1. There's such a fast corner, almost full throttle. It's a full-on 90-degree corner, but these guys are pulling about 120 miles an hour through there. Now coming up towards turn 2, what's also known as the keyhole, and now down that long back straight, which then leads you to the braking zone for turn 4. The only passing zone on this track, but I don't think we'll see any passing among the top 3 at this point in time.
Those chasing Jack Harvey would love a yellow at some point to bunch him up and get one more opportunity at a restart. A quarter of the way through. Yesterday's race was fascinating because it started in the wet. You watched Chavez working. He lost a spot at the beginning, fell back to 5th, and worked his way back up to 2nd. And here's a battle for 5th position with Juan Piedrahita with the 2 yellow cars from Team Moore right behind him, Jimmy Simpson and Zach Meyer.
Just look at how these cars react going through these S's on the back section of the track. Just back-to-back corners, massive G-loads here. And Juan Piedrahita is lacking a little bit of speed right now, and I'm wondering if it could be a similar situation to Jack Harvey, where it takes a little bit for his car to come in, but when he does, he might be able to pull away. But certainly right now, those 2 Team Moore cars are looking awfully strong and pressuring Juan Piedrahita a lot.
Zach Meyer has been making good progress throughout the season. I talked with him on Friday afternoon. He was really happy with the way things were going. He had not raced here before in lights, but he has been here before in other series. Oh, that's a big off there. We talked nicely about it. Oh, man. That's a big hop, and we saw Justin Wilson do something similar at this track and suffer a back injury a couple of years ago in the IndyCar race.
I was just going to say that may look like a very innocent off right there, but there are some weird undulations outside the track there, and if you hit it wrong, you can definitely get some airtime, and that is just what happened to him. I mean, that is lucky for him that he is sort of got out of that unscathed. I mean, look at the airtime he's about to get here. That is not what an open wheel car is designed to do at all.
You almost wonder if it did help that he didn't land flat on 4 wheels. It maybe cushioned a little bit because he landed a little bit of an angle, but that's still big air in an open wheel car.
Wow.
Let's look at the view just ahead of them from Juan Piedrahita's on board.
Oh, yeah, just catches a little bit of dirty air from Jimmy Simpson there. These cars produce a lot of downforce, and right behind the car in front of you is a lot of turbulent air that makes you lose quite a lot of downforce. So he probably just got caught out by that, ran a little bit wide, and that curve, every single time you run too wide, it just catches you, and you're going off track.
So a good day goes away right there for Zach Meyer, who was running in the 7th position and battling his teammate. But Jimmy Simpson is still working on Pietrahita there for 5th.
Such an impressive run here for Jimmy Simpson. I mean, he is clearly way, way quicker than what Juan Pietrahita is, but just cannot pull this move off. Just like we talked about earlier, this is such a tough track to pass at that you really need to get the draft down here, down the back straight. He's going to try and get a run on Juan Pietrahita here coming into turn 4. Going to take a look, can't quite get it done this time either. And it could also come down to slightly different wing settings on these cars. The teams have an option to run whatever wing angles they want, and if you trim out a little bit, it is going to be easier to get a draft. But Team Moore Racing are renowned for running high downforce on most tracks they go to.
Good to see. We saw Zach Meyer for just a moment, so it appears that he's okay. He is back in the back, but he is still running. Up front, it's Jack Harvey, who has controlled this race from the opening start, looking to go 2 for 2 this weekend at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Back at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course with Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. And there's Connor Daly, who just outside of Indianapolis at Putnam Park last week got a chance to take a ride in the brand new Dallara 2015 Indy Lights car. The first time it has been on track. Connor Daly joins us in the booth now with the A.J. Foyt Racing gear that he raced for in the Indianapolis 500 last year. Connor, a veteran of the 500, racing in GP2 this year, former winner in Indy Lights. So what did you think? First time anyone's had a chance to shake down that new car.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, to be the first guy to do that is obviously pretty cool, special, especially, you know, knowing Dan Weldon was first to kind of get in the new Indy car and the DW12, and his DW12 was actually right next to me as I was getting in the new IL15. So cool to be a part of it. I think it's got a lot of potential. It's got all the bells and whistles, as I've been saying, and it's a pretty serious machine. It's exactly what this series needs to move forward and to draw more attention to it.
Connor, you've now raced a lot of different race cars. You've driven the Indy car, the GP3 car, the GP2 car over in Europe. How does the new Indy Lights car stack up?
Well, I think it's going to be right where it needs to be. I think it's going to be in between GP2 and GP3, and that's pretty much where it needs to be. I think they've got a good control over the performance of the engine. They say anywhere from 450 to 550 horsepower if they really wanted to. So that's cool. I think AER has done a great job with Cosworth to kind of sort out the whole engine and electronics deal. And it's pretty cool, I think.
Now let's explain GP2 and GP3. That's the latter series that you've been racing in Europe to get to Formula One.
Yeah, so GP2 is a 650 horsepower V8, probably very similar to an IndyCar speed. GP3 is about 450 horsepower, a little bit less than 450, I think maybe 425, and a smaller car. Whereas the Indy Lights car, the new Indy Lights car, is now as long as a GP2 car, and it's a big car. So I think it'll be right where it needs to be. I think GP3, guys over in GP3 I've already talked to have got offers from Indy Lights teams. So it'll be a good step for anyone coming out of GP3 or even wanting to come from GP2. So it'll be a pretty exciting step for anyone looking over to America.
We're keeping an eye on the racing right now, battling for 5th. That's Juan Pietrahita in front in the white and blue 77 car. Right behind him is Juan Pablo Garcia. They came together, as we saw in our Open yesterday. They're back racing together again today. Then Jimmy Simpson is chasing them. And Connor, you've known Jimmy for a long time. We have seen him at Newcastle Motorsports Park. He drives the short tracks at USAC. Long time Carter.
Yeah, Jimmy, we used to race with Jimmy many times. I was teammates with Jimmy just last year at the RoboPong 200, the go-kart race out of Newcastle. And it was great to see him running well this weekend. I don't know what happened. Garcia must have got around him, but it's cool to see him doing well. And I know he wants to do more Indy Lights races. His mom's here, and his mom and dad are here. So it's cool to see him doing well.
Up front, Jack Harvey's lead is now 5.5 seconds on Zach Beach. Gabby Chavez runs in third. There's a good look at Jimmy Simpson. We mentioned the new Indy Lights car that you got in last week. It's going to do a lot of testing as we see Axel Jeffries on board here tomorrow. A full day-long test, originally scheduled, but some business will get in the way of that. But Tristan Vautier, former Indy Lights champion, is going to be in the car tomorrow. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was going to be in the car, but they wanted to make sure they had the full day to do everything that they needed to do if they ran into any problems. And I have to get down to Miami for a sponsorship meeting. So, but it's all good. Me and Tristan are here anyway, and Tristan and I are both going to be doing all the testing the rest of this month as well. So he's going to be in the car tomorrow, and then I'm going to be in the car at the next test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
There's Jack Harvey, the leader. He led every lap yesterday and won, and so far doing the same as we hit the midpoint of this race here today. There's Axel Jeffries we've talked about on pit lane. Jake Query has more.
Connor Daly was just mentioning, Kevin, that he has meetings this week. He's not the only one. We look on board here with Axel Jeffries. This is his fourth Indy Lights race and his third of it. Made his debut here a year ago at Mid-Ohio, finishing in 7th. Then went to Houston. He actually started 11th in Houston, finished in 5th. He was 6th yesterday and race 1 this weekend. But he has a busy week ahead of him. On Tuesday, he will go to Zimbabwe to meet with officials there to try to secure sponsorship to get himself a full-time ride to be able to try to run for an Indy Lights championship in 2015. Now, he has obviously a relationship with Zimbabwe. He was born in the United Kingdom, but his father is from Zimbabwe. He lived there, did Axel Jeffries as a young boy. He is now part of the Childline Zimbabwe Goodwill Ambassador Program. He is an ambassador for Zimbabwe. That is the nation that he lists as his nationality, despite the fact now that he lives in Indianapolis and has lived in a few different countries. But his father from Zimbabwe spent time there as a child. He's hoping that relationship will help him land a ride full-time next year in the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires.
And further to what Jake's saying here, each driver on this grid really needs to be a businessman as much as they need to be a race car driver. These days, it's not just about being a fast race car driver. You need to be able to market yourself and show to your sponsors a return on investment. And that's why I've got a lot of respect for Connor and Axel here as well, who are hustling to make it happen. And, Axel right now, he's in a pretty tough position. You wouldn't think so, but he's sort of running right by himself, and it's very easy to lose a bit of motivation. He's about 10 seconds back of Chavez, but then he's got another 10-second gap on Piedrahita. So he's right now just going off his own times. This is sort of like a long qualifying session for him, and it's very, very tough to stay motivated.
There's the championship leader, Gabby Chavez. And we saw Jeffries in the 4 car, and that's who we have seen Alex Barron ride he's been in most of this season. In fact, he won the most recent round, the second race at Toronto. Well, he's not here this weekend because we've seen this before with racing drivers, some visa issues. And Brian Bellardi, the owner, just found out about a week ago, and they were actually going to have 3 cars this weekend. So Axel Jeffries would have probably been in the 0 car that we saw Chase Austin run at the Freedom 100. So we expect to see Alex Barron back for the final round starting at Milwaukee in a couple of weeks. Thank you for Connor Daly joining us here in the booth. Stay tuned. More racing to come from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Working on lap 26 of 40 at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. With Anders Krohn and Connor Daly, I'm Kevin Lee. This is Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. There's your leader from the beginning. Not just today, but yesterday as well. It's a doubleheader weekend. And Jack Harvey has led every lap contested in Indy Lights this weekend, and he continues to stretch his lead. 6.4 seconds now on Zach Beach. Gabby Chavez is another 4.5 seconds back, running in 3rd. Then 10 more seconds to Axel Jeffries. In 5th place, we've had a good battle today. Juan Piedrahita and then Juan Pablo Garcia. Jimmy Simpson has been chasing them. So 5th, 6th, and 7th. And 5th and 6th, the pair of teammates have been racing all season.
They've been fighting it out every single part of this season, and yesterday it all came to a head when they interlocked wheels going into turn 4. And Juan Pablo Garcia is a very, very strong competitor and is very experienced in Indy Lights. Juan Piedrahita came into Indy Lights this year straight from Pro Mazda, so he is more inexperienced, but obviously right now showing up Juan Pablo Garcia a little bit for speed. But now we have Jimmy Simpson coming back strong. He fell back a little bit, but now showing a lot of strength again.
One of the great things about these road courses is how much racing you will see when you come to one of these events. The entire Mazda Road to Indy ladder is here with USF 2000, Pro Mazda, Indy Lights, and obviously the Verizon IndyCar Series. And on pit lane, Jake Query has a couple of our winners from this weekend.
Kevin, that's correct. Garrett Grist has had already a season that's been kind of up and down, and that's part of what learning through this series is all about, finding that consistency, starting to come together for you. Your second win in Pro Mazda and have it here at Mid-Ohio. Congratulations. Take me through your season.
Thank you. Yeah, today was a great day. Our season started out a bit rough, but we've definitely been on the upswing for sure. We won the night before the 500 on the Oval, and now to get a win here, it's really good for the team, and it's building momentum heading into the last 2 weekends of the year.
Do you feel like you are ready now to make the jump and next year perhaps be in Indy Lights?
Well, next year for sure we're going to do Pro Mazda again. This is my rookie year, so this is the year I kind of learn everything, and next year's the year to go for the championship for sure.
Another guy making his second year here in the same series as a year ago is this man who won this morning here at Mid-Ohio, Florian Latour. You have won now the third race that you won, your second win, but the third race this morning you were the winner. Take me through your season and learning those F2000.
Yeah, my season don't start very good. I was 32 points behind the leader, and right now I catch since Barber in every race. I catch RC who was leader, and right now I lead with 30 points. So it's a good gap for finish at Sonoma.
That is, of course, the point of this ladder series, Kevin, is to get familiar with these guys. Perhaps we'll see them in the Indy Lights. Garrett Grist and Florian Latour. Congratulations to both you guys.
Thank you, Jake. 5 support races with the Mazda Road to Indy this weekend, and 5 different winners. 3 in USF 2000, 2 in Pro Mazda, plus you added 2 more in Indy Lights. The IndyCar race, 8 open wheel races here this weekend. Can't beat it.
And the Mazda Road to Indy is just such a fantastic opportunity for these young drivers to expose themselves to the IndyCar teams and show themselves that, hey, I am that next guy to move up the ladder. And Mazda and Anderson Promotions have put together such a strong ladder system, starting with USF 2000. If you win that championship, you get a scholarship to move up to Pro Mazda. If you win that, you get yet another scholarship to move up to Indy Lights. And to top that off, if you win Indy Lights, you're guaranteed a multi-race ride in IndyCar, which is just fantastic. And Connor, I remember you and I battling it out on the Mazda Road to Indy before it even was the Mazda Road to Indy. But certainly, I think for your career, that was the beginning, and probably did a large part of your career.
Absolutely. I mean, Mazda has been a huge part of my career, and the whole Mazda Road to Indy. I mean, I started out at the bottom rung in the Skip Barber National Championship, and Joseph Newgard and I battled it out there, and then we found you in the Star Mazda Championship, and we had a great battle all through my career, and it was great. I mean, I was able to win the Skip Barber National Championship, the Pro Mazda Championship, get all the way to Indy Lights, and then I decided to make a run at Formula One and head over to Europe. So it's been a huge part of my career, and I owe so much to Mazda and those guys. They've been awesome.
And of course, there's still some resentment from my side, obviously, that
Absolutely.
I let you win that Pro Mazda Championship.
Yeah, you just let it happen. You felt like being a nice guy, didn't you?
I did, yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Well, I love the exposure that they get on the IndyCar weekends, and to be honest, I'm very pleased and gratified that NBCSN has allowed them to get some airtime as well, and it's all worked very well, nicely together. We do some feature highlight and race calls for the Mazda Road to Indy. We've got another one coming up within a couple of weeks for USF 2000 Pro Mazda, so as we say, check your local listings. That is coming up in the very near future.
And have a look at these guys now just hustling it through this course. I mean, we're only 10 laps away from the finish here. For 30 laps, these guys have been going at it so hard. And the thing about this track is it's non-stop. With the exception of that long back straight, it's really just back-to-back-to-back corners. So there's really no chance for these drivers to brake. That's why they have to have extremely strong physical regimens to be fit for these races.
Let's go on board for a lap and let Anders and Connor take us through. We're on board with Juan Pedrohito, who's running 5th, and he's got 2 guys chasing him into turn number 1.
Yeah, turn number 1, high downforce, very, very fast corner. Everyone wants to try and get a run on each other down into the keyhole here. It's a great heavy brake zone. You lose the track as you go downhill here, and then you kind of have to wait on the front and then make sure you get the best exit you can all the way down this long straight. It's a very good passing zone, obviously, into turn 4. Everyone will be checking their mirrors here if you're leading the car behind you, and it'll be a great passing zone here into 4. Heavy brake. Try and avoid this curve. I think it'll upset the car a little bit. Into turn 5, you've got to get on the power early. Into turn 6, and it'll be a great exit down to the next section with lots of twisty bends.
And turn 7 here coming up over a large crest. A little compression in turn 8 as you go uphill for the braking zone for 9. Over the hill again. Very important to have straight hands there, not to loop the car around as they bend it around turn 10 here. Coming into turn 11. Super fast corner. And now about to jump into the carousel here. A long right-hander. Very tough to get it right there. And as we see, Juan Piedrahita does just that coming through turn 13, and that's a lap around Mid-Ohio, and man, what a track.
Juan Piedrahita hanging on to that 5th place position. Juan Pablo Garcia, Jimmy Simpson chasing him, but everyone has been chasing Jack Harvey today. He is in front by 7.5 seconds, trying to go 2 for 2 this weekend. Harvey leading Veach. Chavez is 3rd. Stay with us. The finish is coming up from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Beautiful day here in Central Ohio. We had some rain yesterday, but so far it's perfect today. The fans have come out to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. You got to get there early to get those spots on the hill.
And those are some frantic fans. Even at 7:30 this morning, they were out in force, and it's always great to see. Mid-Ohio, for whatever reason, just attracts a ton of people. They know a lot about racing, and it's just a fantastic race course to add to that.
4 laps to go, plus 9.5. You're the only one of the 15.
Jack Harvey has been dominant all weekend. He's been waiting for this breakthrough. He knew he had the team to do it. Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports had finished 2nd once, the 2nd race at Indianapolis on the road course, and 3rd 5 times before he won the pole yesterday, started the race in the wet. He said that was really challenging in the wet because you're not sure how hard you can push. You're the leader. Everyone else behind is kind of gauging the guy in front of them to see how hard they go.
But boy, did he do a good job. And he just listened to his engineer, Tim Neff, there, talking to him, just giving him updates. And Tim Neff is one of the winningest engineers in Indy Lights history. Has won several championships, including Alex Lloyd, including a lot of greats in racing. So certainly he has a great man behind him and a great team behind him in Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. But the conditions yesterday were extremely challenging. Today, though, it's been nice, it's been beautiful, and it almost looks like he's just on a Sunday drive.
That's Anders Krohn. Connor Daly is also here. I'm Kevin Lee. Looking back through the pack a little bit at 5th, 6th, and 7th. That's Jimmy Simpson in the yellow and white car. He's running at 7th, still trying to chase down Juan Pablo Garcia.
Okay, 3 laps to go. Drive smart. 3 laps to go, plus 9.8.
That's the advantage from 1st to 2nd.
Tim basically telling Jack that he is in his own race right now.
Do not push.
Yes.
Do not mess this up or there will be consequences, basically.
And he's going to be very much in the championship mix. Here was still 3 to go after this with Milwaukee and then the doubleheader at Sonoma to finish things up. As it stands, he would be within 18 points of Gabby Chavez, who has done what he can today, running in 3rd. I think it's maybe even gone a little better than Gabby feared it would. He felt they were a little bit lost. They just couldn't find the balance by Friday, but it kicked in a little bit yesterday.
He has managed to salvage the best he could out of this weekend. They were a little bit off the pace, couldn't really get the job done, but man, he has just done the best that he could with the track position, with the passes that he's been able to make. But just looking at the championship again, Milwaukee is really going to be the deciding factor for Jack Harvey. If he can stay in it and do a good job there, again, he is new to the ovals this year, and he will be his first time at Milwaukee. So if he can come through there with a solid position, with still a chance at the championship, then Sonoma could be really good for him.
Jack Harvey as well. He is the first one from this Racing Steps Foundation program to come to America. Racing Steps Foundation funds British racing drivers all over the world, but it's the first time that they've brought someone to America.
Jimmy Simpson taking a look on Garcia, going into 4 around the outside.
That is a tough move. Just a bit of front end damage there, and that's a shame for him. He is going to fall back pretty quickly there. These cars so reliant on the aerodynamic efficiency of those wings right there, and I think he's going to lose quite a bit of downforce there.
So it doesn't work for Simpson, and he suffers damage. Let's see if he can hang on to 7th place.
And you can see he's already lost plenty of ground there to Garcia, with now Ryan Finney pushing him hard.
and just started sliding through that corner.
He really fought hard to make it on the outside there. He realized that it's the end of the race here. He needs to make something happen, and now it's just a matter of him hanging on till the end here. Salvaging a 7th place finish would be good for him, but he's got some tire rub here now, so if this right front doesn't go down, he'll consider himself very lucky.
Meanwhile, Jack Harvey continues to check out. Let's go down to pit lane with Jake Query.
And obviously an interested spectator for that is Sam Schmidt, the owner for Jack Harvey. You watch him there. Same result as yesterday, it appears, but a much different condition. What have you learned about this young driver today, Sam?
Well, ironically, we knew he was fast when we tested him the first time around. Racing Steps Foundation doesn't support slow drivers, so wish we would have got the mojo going a little sooner in the season, but I think we still put some pressure on Gabby and compete for the championship these last few races.
Appreciate the time. We'll let you watch the conclusion here for Jack Harvey.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be back in Winner's Circle.
Sam Schmidt.
He's likely to be headed there in just a few seconds in the final lap, and Jimmy Simpson is struggling to hang on, and he's not hanging on. Losing positions. Worth a go, though. It's a one-off situation for him. You want to make something happen.
It definitely was worth a go, and it's a shame to see him slow down like he has, but he has certainly proved a point here this weekend. He has been ferociously strong.
Zach Beach still chasing. And he's not going to be able to catch Jack Harvey. Final few turns coming around. Here's Jack Harvey looking to make it a perfect clean sweep of the weekend. Through the carousel. Driving for Sam Schmidt, a former teammate of Connor Daly's in America, and he's loving it this season. And Jack Harvey, a two-time winner this weekend at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
What a dominant weekend from Jack Harvey. I mean, he said after the Toronto Grand Prix, here we are listening to him.
Thanks, guys.
Thanking his crew guys for doing an astonishing job there. But he said in Toronto, the only thing I've got left to do this season is win races, and boy has he come through. Absolutely stomped this weekend, and now I think we have a real championship candidate in front of us right now.
We're going to hear from the winner in just a moment. We'll update the points and more. Jack Harvey has gone 2 for 2 in Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires in Mid-Ohio. Back in Mid-Ohio, where round 11 of Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires is complete, and it was a dominating day and weekend for Jack Harvey, who has won both races this weekend. Here's how they finished in race number 2. Harvey wins by 12 seconds over Zach Beach. The championship leader, Gabby Chavez, comes home in third. Great weekend for Axel Jeffrey, 6th and 4th in his first opportunities this weekend. And Juan Piedrahita, a solid run in 5th. Down to victory lane now. Let's hear from the winner with Jake.
Jack Harvey, for the second time, is a winner in the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires, and both of them here in the same weekend. You can see, obviously, getting out of the car, excited. And let me tell you, actually I say excited, but yet you got in the car, you brought it home the same place where you started.
Yeah.
But I'll bet it wasn't that easy now, was it?
No, I mean, today's race was real tough. Obviously, I'm not sure exactly what happened at turn in the first racing corner. I know there was a bit of an accident which allowed Zach and Gabby to be really close to me. Then the safety car came out, and man, them guys were really quick, probably for like the first 6 or 7 laps after that. And then I felt the car getting better. You know, I pushed hard when I needed to, I conserved the gap when I needed to, and I pushed hard again at the end. So, I mean, what a great weekend for us. I think we took complete maximum points that was available. So I just need to say thank you to all my team, everybody at Schmidt Peterson Motorsport, my sponsors, Racing Steps Foundation, and I kind of feel like I'm saying the same thing as yesterday.
What's led this to all come together for you? Sam Schmidt said you found your mojo. What has been the difference now?
We just kept working hard. You know, I for sure I feel like I'm getting in a good rhythm with the team, with the car. This circuit's obviously suited me pretty well because we were fast before we even came here in the pre-season testing. Honestly, I think just having a great team behind me. You know, they support me all the time. We're always looking to be better. We're never settling for second. So, you know, the team needs to take as much credit as, you know, as I have.
Yeah, but credit to you, too. That's a pretty impressive weekend. Very impressive weekend for Jack Harvey. Congratulations. Enjoy it. 2 races, 2 wins at Mid-Ohio.
Top 5 in every race this season, and that's allowed him to stay within reach, and now he's very much right there, knocking on the door. 18 back of Gabby Chavez. Zach Beach still very close. Obviously, it is a 3-man race with 3 races to go.
Yeah, and we saw the championship gap open up, and now it's closed right back down with only 3 races to go. I think we're in for a heck of a season ending here.
Well, the Indy Lights continues on NBCSN in 2 weeks. Be sure to join us Sunday, August 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern from the Milwaukee Mile. For more information on IndyCar, go to NBCSports.com. For Anders Crone, Connor Daly, Jake Query, I'm Kevin Lee. Thanks for joining us.